love. While it may not be what makes the world go round, it is what makes the ride worthwhile. Maybe that's why billions of people throughout the centuries have seen fit to dedicate an entire day to grand gestures of romance. With Valentine's Day, the only holiday best celebrated in pairs. For all its popularity, history doesn't give us any guarantees as to the origins of Valentine's Day. But we do know it contains vestiges of the early Christian church and ancient Rome. The association between mid-February and romance goes back to a pagan festival known as Lupercalia, likely honoring either Lupa, the she-wolf of Rome who suckled Romulus and Remus, or Faunus, their god of fertility. The festivities began with an animal sacrifice. Then the ritualistic slapping of young women with strips of the animal's skin and blood to bestow fertility for the coming year. In the 5th century, perhaps in an effort to Christianize the pagan festival, Pope Gelasius declared February 14th as St. Valentine's Day. As for the real St. Valentine, there were reportedly several canonized by the Church. Legend has it that one St. Valentine, a defiant Roman priest, lived during the 3rd century AD under Emperor Claudius II. Claudius was an ambitious ruler. His battles required vast armies of men to abandon their young families for long periods of time, resulting in a military that was half-hearted and homesick. So determined was Claudius to stop love from sapping the will of his armies, he banned marriages altogether. Father Valentine thought the ban unjust and defied the emperor, continuing to marry young lovers in secret. The emperor eventually caught on to the priest's actions, arrested him, and sentenced him to death. It is believed that young couples he had secretly wed would visit his cell, passing him flowers and notes through the bars as symbols of their gratitude. The story continues that the condemned Father Valentine fell in love with his jailer's daughter. On February 14th, the day he was executed, it is said he passed the young girl a note. It was signed, "From your Valentine." A tradition was born. Cupid, the winged matchmaker, started out as the Roman god of love, inspired the image of cherubs for Christians, and is now a favorite of card makers and mass marketers. Our modern Valentine's Day, removed from its religious and pagan past, has evolved into one of the most celebrated holidays on the calendar. On average, Americans shower their loved ones with 180 million roses, red ones naturally, and almost 36 million heart-shaped boxes of candy. Not to mention all those cards, dinners, and diamonds. All told, the holiday brings in almost $14 billion annually, giving retailers plenty to love as well. But if you're worried that you can't afford to treat your loved one properly next Valentine's Day, take heart. The poets were right. Love is really all you need.
How romantic.
Alright, Shalom. First of all, I just want to say, Kawaii Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. The bonus, the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Honest to all you brothers out there teaching, making your sit-downs. Honest to you brothers out there who also on the comment boards, throwing out scriptures. You know, shalom to you brothers, honest to you brothers. Well, honest to you brothers out there who aren't camping yet, but you're on your way to camping. Alright, so shalom. He's here. This thing here, the pagan origins of Valentine's Day, is from Pinterest. Pinterest is a really good place to find like photos and stuff exposing a lot of this stuff. You can find photos of the Dark Ages and all kinds of stuff on here. So it's a pretty nice source. February throughout history has been known as the month of love. It's a time when the earth is at its most fertile. It's really around March, but February is getting into it. Plants and flowers are getting ready to shoot up. Farmers are getting ready for lambing and chick season. Animals will come out of hibernation and start looking for a mate. February 14th, Juno Verbrata Day. Ancient Romans celebrated a holiday on February 14th to honor the goddess Juno, who is the queen of the Roman gods. She's also the god of childbirth and marriage. In this ritual, women would put their name in a box, and then men would draw out a name, and then the two would be coupled for the duration of the festival. This festival was to promote marriage and fertility, and many of the people who were coupled went on to marry. Sex is marriage. I don't know how the Romans did it back then. They probably I think they actually had a ceremony, similar to the way we do things now. Sex was a marriage for them. February 14th, 13th to 15th, Lupercalia. Romans celebrated Lupercalia, 3-day holiday, right? Which is the same thing about Valentine's Day, right? Same stuff. Okay. Romans celebrated Lupercalia, 3-day holiday. They celebrate the faunus of the god of fertility. Men will go out to a cave. They could dedicate Lupercal, the wolf god, located at the foot of Palatine Hill, believed to be the birthplace of Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, of course suckled by a she-wolf. Romulus and Remus were real, but the she-wolf thing is fake. That didn't happen. The men would sacrifice with gold, then don its skin, then run around towns, villages, whooping men and women with a whip made from the goat skin. This was said to be a blessing of fertility to whoever was whipped. And there would be big parties. and 3-day feast and festival to celebrate Lupercalia. Okay. Christians, or should I say the church, do not celebrate St. Valentine's Day or acknowledge it on this calendar, as they do not believe Valentine was a saint, and they called the holiday a pagan festival. A lot of priests frowned upon any of their flock who celebrate the day. Valentine's Day gets its name from a priest called Valentine, performed secret marriages so young men didn't have to go to war. Married men who were trapped at that time didn't have to go to war. When he was found out, he was sent to prison to be beheaded by the church for his crimes. While in prison and waiting his fate, he fell in love with a servant girl. They passed notes to each other, and on the notes they signed anonymous to keep the love secret. This is why we send Valentine's card anonymously. So the whole day it goes back to paganism. Alright, Revelation 17:7. An angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast, their character, which are the 7 heads and 10 horns. Woman is America, beast 7 heads, 10 horns, NATO and EU. They come together to make the beast system. The beast that also was and is not shall ascend to the bottomless pit and go into perdition. They that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. And behold, the beast that was and is not, yet is, so ascend to the bottomless pit, coming out of Europe, whose name were not written, right, the elect. So they're not the elect, the people that are worshiping them. And the beast that was and is not, yet is, means that they was the ancient Romans, but they're not the ancient Romans. You do have they are a part of NATO and the EU, like Italy and stuff, but it's not like they're all in Rome, okay, like they were back then. But they are still the Romans because they still follow the same things. Okay, so they were the Romans. They're not in the same regions. They've expanded out to more regions, but they still are the Romans because they are the same pagan Roman Empire rulers. Who are still pagan Romans and still follow the same things, basically. That's what I'm trying to get at. Jeremiah 10:2, to say the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So learn not the way of the heathen, meaning don't follow their ways. Be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, meaning it's pretty obvious. Don't be dismayed at stars and different constellations and things like that, because the heathen worship them. So don't be dismayed at them. We know that's just prophecy and signs of the end times. Deuteronomy 22:16. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to the Most High, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods who newly came up, whom your fathers feared not. Okay. So that's pretty much what these people are doing. They sacrifice unto devils, and they're still doing the same thing today. Our people, they do these holidays, and a lot of them are unaware that these holidays are actually going back to idol worship. They may be thinking that they're doing something, holy or something, but in reality, they're actually sacrificing unto devils, unto demons. So we call them demonic. These holidays are all demonic, including Valentine's Day. So that's pretty much it. Lord willing, you edify. Shalom.